Hello, viewers. I'm just going to do a kind of a vlog summary of where we're at so that you don't have to watch 70 minutes of my latest rundown of this geometry. And as usual, I found something out last night. So this star chart is now complete. I had been told by an astronomer who was doing a bit of history, and she reckoned that there hadn't been a translation, and there may not have been a translation of his Latin, but there is a translation of Brahe's German, Tycho Brahe's German treatise on the comet of 1577. And in there, after Christensen's preamble, we have a great comet appeared in the constellation of Capricorn. And guess what the declination of Capricorn was at the time? 20 degrees. So we've now got four values, all within. These two are within a 50th of a degree, and I think when you've got rid of the pixelation, if you've got, because a single pixel is making more than a 20th of a degree difference on that one, or 10th of a degree. So we can probably make these better. But anyway, there we go. So that's good. The thing that it occulted it exhibits an occultation with is Capricorn. Now, the big thing that I discovered is that how silly I'd been, is that the circle predicts the square, predicts the y coordinate, the height on the page that the square is perfectly. There should be a red line underneath that blue line that sticks out a little bit on the right-hand side and is too far on the left, and that's where we get the shifting and scaling factor, which we can then apply back on here and get exactly the right result. I don't have reasons myself for the Y positions of these two flowers, just the X positions at the moment. Now, so come on. Oh, there we go. Yeah. There's shifting and scaling factors. So what does that mean? Well, it means everything starts clicking into place. So you can see that R there on the triple tau. That's just absolutely perfect, isn't it? And indeed, so is the H. On the other side, what was anyway. Now, and indeed the tau cross again is now absolutely perfect on that dot. And that's really very pleasing, particularly because we've had to use the transformation, because this dot we know is lined up on the square, because we've known for a long time that the vertical guideline from the centre of where that dot actually is runs just perfectly up the inside of that eye. So everything's fitting. Now, this is just a slide that I'm putting together for a future presentation regarding who chooses, and what's this tau cross stuff in your triple tau. Was apparently the prophet Ezekiel, and apparently if you're planning on getting crucified, ask for a tau cross unless you want to do it again. Now and it also mentions that the triple tau can be a T resting on an H, and this symbol, the triple tau, is the emblem of all emblems. And just in case you were wondering, what are these shapes? I mean, 27.99 triple tau cross, and then the Master of the Royal Secret. It's a Teutonic cross, I believe you can also call that, but I like to call it a 4T. And the A here that has a coincident point of a pentagram here, that line now goes, at least at the beginning, up not along the stem. it goes along the inside. And the point about all these circles is that happens 6, actually it happens here as well, times on here. There's a line that runs across the top of that T perfectly and cuts the serif. There's a line along the back of that perfectly. There's 2 crosses up through the middle of this, one of them very close to the inside of that D. There's the line through the I that we've seen. There's the line down there, which I'll show you. And in fact, the line up to the P doesn't actually go through the P. I don't mind if you want to draw it like that, but it actually goes up the side of it. And it's closer than it looks because you have to scale this slightly. So all that fits, and there is your pyramid of Giza, which is now perfectly on the inside foot of that N. These lines are essentially defined as coming from it, so it's hardly surprising, but yeah, absolutely perfectly on there. Everything's just clicking into place. And there should be a red line under there. These are the only input values for the entire thing, arbitrary ones. And so I can now work out where these dots easily, now that I've only got the width of it to work out, I now know exactly where these the centers of these two should be. In order for them to be correct with respect to the square. These dots actually don't look as though they're quite in the middle anymore, do they? So we probably have to shift those around a little bit on a later iteration. Yeah, this line here. So it this is the Dad's Army arrow on this Thorpe dot, and a line at exactly 60 degrees hits what's actually a break on the swoop. Now, it turned out that this line seems to be going straight through there. Now, the red line there, which I've just hacked on there, but when I looked at it, yeah, we do hit, but we're about a millimetre parallel to it. But actually, when you scale this, you get even closer when the square is the right size. So, but either way, unless you're doing it super accurately, you won't notice that line just goes straight through this and then hits the A. So a minor thing. Now I'm getting increasingly concerned about this. This is the only element that I'm bothered about because it's the only one that doesn't then do something else, if you like. It's not really doing very much. It's nicely defined as being the this side equal to that. That plus that is equal to the diagonal. But that's about it. Other than it doesn't even very nicely cut these two here, the N and the E, and it doesn't really do a particularly good job of being a baseline of that. Okay, maybe, but I'd like it to do something else, and it's not doing. Now, the reason I'm concerned about that, well, if you look at this S here, I want a rose or a flower of some description on here. Now, again, in terms of what happens when now we're pretty sure we've got the square in the right place, is that this S is now no longer sort of somewhere, but the dot isn't where it should be, which is around about there. It's now resting nicely on that line, which, as you've seen, has happened repeatedly. So that S is now very, very deliberately put in that position. What has all this got to do? We've got the adored P here with the line for the Cairo, and then we got this revolting splodge. What is that? There's a revolting splodge on the right version. It's a different shape splodge, of course, but it's identified. Does it just link these two together? I don't know, but it's not a hyphen, is it? It's just a horrid splodge. Now, and so just to rub it in again about what's happened now to the accuracy, that dot there, which is defined as the reflection of that across that, is now perfect. Here is the perfection of the end of the tau cross, and there's an inverted freckle there on there, which is damned in the middle, and in the it's exactly in both the horizontal and vertical centres of this S. And we're pretty close. We're half the width of that out from being perfect. We want to be right in the middle. Well, we're not quite. And the reason I want that is because I'm concerned here is because I want a rose there, so I've got a rosy cross. There is no monad as far as I can see, so that's just I've just run out of stuff. So I've been accused of finding what I've chosen to look for. I chose to look for what teachers said, basically. I mean, there's very little on here. Tau cross, triple tau, and then the rest of it's just geometry or some very, very famous astronomy. And it's, excuse me, and it's fairly trivial geometry. Now, finally, I did a little bit on this just because I absolutely adore this. And one of the reasons I adore it is because there's no kind of funny cryptography going on here. It's just, arranging stuff and noticing the relationships. I forgot to go through briefly what these are, although those single words are perhaps enough. But I forgot to complain about the fact that we've got 6 of these that I don't have ones for. Have they been found? It would look much nicer if they were filled in. But this Porter and Wilson both have the same geometry. I don't know if I've discovered that, but it's fairly trivial. While everything else here doesn't require any, weird cryptography, if you like, that's as basic as it gets. I like that because it, once you've accepted this, you've also got to accept that they take the number of the letters and the order of the letters in the Latin alphabet and add it all up, and that's evidence of that going on. So very nice. So that's it. That's your update, and I'm working on on the stats, actually, on the numbers on the Cardano, and there's only there's 3 T's. There's the Ellison, the Veritas, and the De Vere. And then there's also Henry Wriothesley. Now, if you accept Ellison and Veritas as part of even a vocabulary of 1,000 wide, and they are, mercy and truth, those words just are in every Latin mass. So we can take all the words in a Latin mass, and it's not going to affect us. I'm just fiddling around with that, and I'll do that in a week or so. Any more news as I get it. Thank you.